Now we're cooking with gasoline. It's camel time, folks. You'd think this is the realm of the Japanese, but I'm getting more and more convinced that the Abbasids are actually kings of the water maps here. We've got Anatan up against Dumu, a liquid My Insanity showdown. And it's going to be Anatan in the red playing as the Abbasids. Meanwhile, Dumu, the purple on those Japanese. We are on 4X, a map that I've actually been on record saying I think is incredible for Japan, but I think Abbasids actually are a pretty good counter to the Civ. They have some really cool plays. If it turns into a stalemate, they can't get out of Feudal Age. The Japanese get killed by Camel Archers. If they rush towards Castle, Camel Archers can still kind of offset things. So, kind of an interesting one where I feel like Japan's only play is to kind of rush Castle, but the problem with doing so is the military wing. I've seen a few games now where the Abbasid's military wing is able to deny gold if you get a bad spawn, and to me, this is not a great spawn for the Japanese, right? Like, all gold options have forward spawned. If you got a back spawn in gold, this would look a lot better. So I'm curious to see how Dumu navigates this, because I think one of the biggest problems with Japan right now is people get baited way too much by Shinobis. Shinobi play is not as good as you'd think. It's actually really overwhelming, really underwhelming and really overrated. The really big problem that I'm seeing with Shinobi right now is, especially in this matchup, like your opponent's going to open double arch, double spear because of the military wing. You're already kind of pseudo-countered. And you lose your initial investment, right? So, like, you have to pile more in. And the thing about piling more in is it's a slippery slope with Shinobi, 120 resources per pop. If you do too many, your opponent can just add a few Camel Archers in. And Camel Archers, funnily enough, folks, are actually the perfect counter to Shinobi because they get double damage. Remember, Camels get bonus damage against light melee infantry, of which Shinobi definitely are counted as. Will we be doing community games today? Doubtful. We've got some battle aces later, so maybe we'll play with some people there. But there's definitely not enough people on to play community games now. So, how is this opening going to go? Because I said military wing, but I have seen a few players leaning into culture wing at the moment. And Dumu is an interesting fellow, by the way. I've noticed sometimes he goes Kura Storehouse in this map. I think that's typically against something like Mongols, rather, because of the burn down. So we're probably just going to be seeing Coco. But I'm hoping it's just for the initial dude, and then he just kind of hunkers down with outposts. I know, you crafty demon. I was looking for it. Had to be coming, right? It's going to be a sneak onto the pond. He scouts it. The timing on that was pristine, right? He gets in there, he gets to sniff the right pond, and then immediately dives for it. And Dumu. Oh, Dumu. Yeah, this is rough what Dimu's done. So usually, as a Japanese player, you can kind of insulate your pond a bit better, because what you can do is this house, instead of building it on the berries, you can build it here as you walk around, and then you're already halfway to wall off this little piece here, or drop a dock. Either one would encapsulate the whole area, right? Instead, though, Dumu played a bit more greedy. He built an additional fishing boat and ignored that detail. Now he's going to pay a price for it. Dog drop already on the way in. If he doesn't sniff this out at the beginning of the tech up, he will be too slow to prevent any military boats from coming out. Military wing on the other side from Anno, so pretty much the exact play we expected here, right? You don't get any value out of Eco Wing on this type of map. Culture Wing is just a bait. Trade Wing is definitely not going to work when there's Shinobi on the field. And honestly, setting up the good trade route feels bad unless you set up a dock in your own corner, which feels a bit weird anyway. So Military Wing, to me, makes up, it kind of feels like a mandatory 90% plus of 4X games. Wow, second dock as well. Dimu just got the bad news. Oh, that is so brutal. Remember, Anatan, he spent 150 wood on this because the docks are half price. So this is very efficient for the Abbasids. And now Dimu, I mean, he's going to have to wrap the Springald. But the thing is, like, if he doesn't immediately demo this, oh my god, what? Dude, this is actually insanely big brain for Mano. Because he's got a decent amount of resources in reserve that he's stockpiling. He can quickly pump Springald, Demo, and an Archer ship. That's a huge advantage here. Dumu, meanwhile, he only has one dock on this pond. Springald, can it get it here quick enough? I think he gets the villager kill, but he won't stop the dock going up. Especially the way he's playing this. Gets in a little bit too close. Anatan, he denies it. Backs away, is going to lose the villager. Shinobi should guarantee that. It's still a double dock, though. And it's kind of like a 50-50, right? Do you get the right ship? Honestly, I don't think he did. Guys, the demo coming out second is good, because if Anatan can hit you first, the demo can insta-kill. If this was the other way around, the demo gets wasted and then you heal with the fishing boats. It was a 50-50 roll, but I think Dumu hit the wrong thing. Second Shinobi is arriving. He's going to start training it out. Sabotage running out in 5 seconds. This is big. Third Shinobi needs to get hit ASAP. There is a small window of opportunity if he's quick enough. 7 seconds. Dumu. He's not going to be fast enough here. He's pushing himself in right now. The War Junk comes out and dies. Sick timing by Anatan. Demo ship in reaction to this is coming through. It looks like it is going to be able to get the counter kill, which is critical here. Man, the sail's not good enough to get the distance. So Anatan will lose his boat as well. Shinobi are looking pretty healthy still. Archers are going to try to change that, though. One of them almost sniped down. He needs to use the sabotage. Let's get it off. Okay, so this is big. Dumu can now recover his pond. It has come at a high price, though. A lot had to be invested in this. We're now going up to 5 Shinobi. Dome in the meantime, Anatan a little bit too overzealous. I'm surprised he didn't go for a Springwood first. He's getting cute, but ultimately he's going to lose it. And it looks like the archers are also going to be going down here. So that should be the end of the aggression, right? Like, I think Anatan has to just go castle now. Dumi played this really well, by the way. I said that I'm usually worried players overinvest in Shinobi, and he's borderline at that point. He can try to rush castle now, but there is a kind of impeding worry here, right? Like, look at the food income on both sides. His is pitiful in comparison. So now the issue is, like, Anno... Oh, dude, he's not even going to go for it, is he? What did we say about camels at the start of this game? And what did I just say about Shinobi overinvestment? I mean, I think Anno could have went castle, but I guess his thought process is, why would you play into an age where Japan's favored? This is actually, now that I think about it, is a lot smarter. I don't know why I leaned away from it when we talked about camels at the beginning of the game. Camel archers disintegrate Shinobi. And Dumu invested way too many. He has a forward spawn goal we highlighted at the start of the game. This is how you lose games as Japanese in this matchup. 3 camel archers will mop this up and could easily follow through onto the gold. In fact, what I'd love to see from Anatan here is 1 camel archer goes in, and then 2 go after the gold. Because you could snipe him down before he gets the outpost up. Nice pull on Pumbaa as well. Wait, is he gonna... Dude. He gets the kill. Oh, that's so tilting. Dumu. He's gonna lose both of them to a single camel. 2 camels on the way. Makes it even better. So Dumu. Ooh, but 1 Shinobi are dead. He did get the info, though. That's really important because Anatan chose to send all the camels over there. There is now an outpost up on the gold. Dumu should just be looking to try and fast castle here. This is scary, though, man. I think Spearmen plus Camel Archers can actually hold back the Japanese in castle. Because if they go Samurai, you have Camel Archers, and if they go for the Mounted Samurai, you have Spearmen and the Unease. So, like, what does that leave you? I guess you have to go Yumi as Japanese, which feels bad on 4 legs because you're not using all that food. Outpost being rushed up. Dumu not going to be quick enough to pull away here, though. Looks like villagers are going to start getting sniped down, so 2 dead. Shouldn't be a 3rd. Okay, it might be a 3rd. What happened there? Wow, good trade. Anatan loses 1 camel, gets 3 kills. So we have got Dumu sneaking onto a 2nd pond at least. Has been scouted out doing so, and it looks like Anatan is now creeping over. So Dumu just needs castle as quickly as possible. The scary thing here is if you wait too long, your opponent will get enough camels to dive you on the tech up and deny it. Because remember, camels have 140 HP while being a ranged cavalry unit. That's a pretty impressive stat pool. Admittedly, they cost a lot for it, but on a map like 4 legs, when you've got so much food from fishing, it's a comp you can always afford. So Stables has been scouted out. This is getting pretty claustrophobic for Dumu. I mean, he's about to have his tech up, right? But, like, there's not much you can gather right now without getting attacked. Kind of feels like you just want to hit the sheep and then fast tech. And yeah, I think he accepts that. 17 villages now building him up to the 3rd age. Anatan, meanwhile, building to the ram. I want to praise Dimmu, by the way. Like, this is a very uncomfortable matchup, but he's navigating it really well right now. Being able to just have these 2 pawns and get up like this, like, that makes the world of difference. He didn't get bogged down too long. I was a little bit skeptical. I felt like he had to spend way too much on that southern pond, but he actually made it work in the end, even after the Shinobi losses. There is still a growing concern, though, right? Like we mentioned, your opponent's going to scale a lot of camel archers, and because you see Spimmer now, your only option is to go Samurai. And Samurai will lose to camel archers, man. Like, this is not easy now for Dimmu. Ram moving in. Idle out time. He dives on. Fortifications aren't in yet. In fact, they're never coming in. Camel archers can start sniping out the hardened samurai. I think we're about to see Dimmu run out of gold here. He has at least got the one on the south side next to the pond, so maybe you can camp this with military ships and gather, but land is not going to be a hoy for him in this game. Dimmu, only 200 gold in reserve. Undermesh level 1 being teched into. Villagers being pulled to try and repair here. He needs to rush to repair up. Camel archers are a little bit distracted. Right now they need to be sniping villagers. Instead, though, they're attacking those samurai. We'll switch over now. If this outpost goes down, Dimmu is at a heavy loss. And looks like it's going to. Still on fire. No way you can pull out villagers anymore. Not with this many units nearby. So it looks like the villagers should be going down. Anatan, a little bit of a mistake there, but torches out to finish what he started. Samurai count does not look good, folks. 5 in total. Camel archer count has at least been kept down. But 5 can kind of kite this out. You've got the spearmen and horsemen to assist. What? On the other side, you have no Odachi tech, right? Like, there's no way you'd be teching that when you have no gold income whatsoever. Dimmu now behind by 13 workers. If he doesn't creep gold now, it's over. He's trying to find relics. You can already see Anatan is reading this. He's playing out onto the flanks to make sure there's no grab of gold. Like, at this rate, Dimmu's only option is a marketplace and selling food, but that's a temporary solution, not permanent. I actually don't think Anatan ever ages up. There's no reason to, right? You can just keep massing camel archers here. Like, maybe if you get up to 20 camel archers, you're like, okay, that's enough. But at this point, just look how trivial this is. Turns out Abbasids have an answer to fast castling civs. Gold gathering has happened again. Anatan has randomly brought a villager here. I love that Dimmu is actually still kind of making this look competitive, right? This pushback has cost him, but because food is infinite, it's all about the gold access. And he needed that because of the worsening rates, right? Like, at this point, selling 100 food only gets you 58 gold. You have actually got Mount Samurai coming out now. Remember we mentioned the Camel on ease reduces your damage heavily. And also your opponent can just add in Spim to contest. So, I hate to say it again, but because we're on the 4 lakes and it feels like you don't want to do it, but it feels like Yuumi was the necessary answer here for Dimmu. Because Camel Archers will just overkill a lot, right? Spim will die straight away. This just doesn't feel right. Culture Wing now on the way for Anno. Ranged Armor 2 is at least kicking in. But what for, right? Like, he hasn't got much of an army left over. And at this point, he's just holding on to a lot of food. Like, maybe Dimmu could have went Veteran Horseman? But once again, Spears, right? Every single idea I go through comes back to Yuumi. Weirdly enough. I'm starting to sound like I'm just obsessed with Yuumi, but these are the type of games where they can look really good. Don't get me wrong, if you have the option, if it fits, you probably always want to go Mount Samurai, but these are the type of games where you simply can't. Culture Wing in 45, guys. Notice he stopped producing Camel Archers, so we should just be looking at mass crossbows afterwards, I guess. Spears and crossbows is really easy to flood for the Abbasids at this point. The issue now for Dimmu is, like, you kind of need double mango to contest this many camels, right? Like, look what happens when you just dive in like this. Camels should just be able to kite back. There's only 3 smart samurai right now. He needs a lot more than this. I know, funnily enough, makes a mistake, though. Hangs around the pond a bit too long. Heavy archer fire coming in. A little bit surprised he's not trying to micro start step this back, but I think he's getting a bit distracted. Spears are now here. Dumu needs to back away from this fight. This is not a great one to take. The spearmen should be able to just allow the camels to stand their ground now. Samurai finally arriving, though. This is going to make it much better. Dumu able to start pushing this back. Camel Archer upgrade is on the way for Anatan, 45 seconds away. Dumu is really impressing me in this game, man. I don't think it's easy to get out of this type of position. I think Anatan did overextend. This is like, these Camel Archers are kind of sometimes it's like using Lombos with English where going around the back of the base feels really bad. That rotation around the back cost him dearly because Dumu had all these attack boats on the west side. It meant that Anatan actually lost a lot of effective HP from his mass when he retreated. I know. Now queuing up the Camel Riders. Dude, I love this. Camel Riders are really strong against the Japanese because of the comp they're running right here, right? Like, Camel Riders will beat the crap out of Mount Samurai because the Camel on ease plus the better attack speed and better health. But then the other thing is very interesting is, like, Samurai don't contest Camel Riders that well because they're a very bulky unit. You don't get bonus health, bonus damage rather against. I think the other interesting thing is, like, Anatan's comp primarily doesn't use gold, right? Dumu has a lot of gold to work with, as every relic is on the way home. Damn, dude. This guy's a dirty boy. I do think Anatan's playing the one comp that's viable when you're 5 relics down, though. I'm wondering, does Dumu just try to land grab and go full eco on land, maybe? Usually when Japan gets late in full late games, we see them switch over into farms. Oh wow, Onobugishi Flood now coming. Wait, did Anna read this or is it misclick? Because if he's spamming Gulums, he knows what's coming next. Gulums can beat the crap out of Onobugishi, but you do need to wall the map. And right now, Anatan has no walls. The trade-off, of course, is that you need mass Onobugishis. Right now, Dumu only has 12. Camel's marching down. Sees the Onobugisha. Also, by the way, kind of an interesting thing here, guys. Remember what we said earlier about Camel Archers countering Shinobi? Would you like to guess what Onobugisha are countered as well? They're light melee. So they're taking 29 damage per hit. What? I mean, this is the key, right? You need the mass. Crossbows peel off. I mean, they've got nothing to target in that fight, right? They should go for the eco instead. Camel Archers, meanwhile, in the choke points. Onobugisha are at least starting to gap close this, but now you just peel the Camel Archers back, tank with the Camel Riders. Sure, they're going to die, but if it gets you a good trade, it's worthwhile. Oh, what a fight. And still, the villagers are getting taken down over here. Those camels tanked so many springwood shots, the crossbows didn't get targeted. Absolute bloodbath in this game now. Wave after wave on the way. Anatan with almost a double military lead. I mean, he's got 5 relics, right? But like, Dumu's issue right now is more in production speed, it feels like. You'd think that that wouldn't ever be the case with Japanese with Yorishiro drops, but we're just not really seeing the flood he needs. I just don't think he's got maybe enough food coming in consistently to allow that pump. Now Anatan with a full Lancer switch. Oh, this is interesting actually, because Dumu could quick switch into Spearman, but that feels bad when your opponent already has Camel Archers, right? So you're unlikely to see this Lancer spam coming until it's up to like 15. At which point you can't get Spearman down quick enough, right? What a cool game. I mean, once again, like, yeah, I love both of these guys. I really need to give it to Dumu. This is just such an uncomfortable matchup. Anatan played this surgically as I'd expect, right? Like, this guy loves camels, always looking for a way to play camels. And camels destroy Japanese. The fact that Dumu even made it look like he was in this past 12 minutes is impressive. Because right now, I feel like when Japan and Abbasid meet, Abbasid players can end the game in 15. I think it's kind of undeniable at this stage, right? 44 economy to 87. Abbasid now with his second TC on land. At this point, Dumu has lost more economy than currently exists in his kingdom. Wondering what he sees his recovery arc as. And we have to remember we have God Vision, right? We see the full state of things. So, like, he might be seeing the trickle of troops now, but that's because it's Lancers instead of cheaper units, right? But there are more coming. This is the annoying thing, I think, for Dumu, is, like, realistically, if he had to play onto one of the ponds, I could understand where he sees his comeback. His comeback would be the fact his opponent can't fish, right? But, you know, the difference between land maps and water maps in these situations is, like, on a water map, you don't have that moment where you're like, oh, he's running out of food. Not completely. Right, if this was a land map at this stage, Dumu might be like, okay, no, he's going to run out of food now and have to farm transition. That's never happening. At least not in a panicked rush, right? There's still plenty of food on land if he needs it. There's still plenty of deep water fish to work with. He is admittedly over-exhausting them, but how is that any different to what Dumu's doing right now? Swimmer now being built. The castle drop now on the way. You know, Anno could just drop a few Raxes here and spam Gulems now. I've been thinking a lot about this particular matchup and what Japan's really meant to do. And I feel like the moment you get forced to add in 4 or 5 Shinobi is when it starts to go wrong. You mentioned at the start, is like, if you set your opponent up to scale Camel Archers, you're already setting yourself up to losing Castle Age, right? And that's kind of what happened here. Like, if you know that's going to happen, though, maybe the one build that could get Japan out of this bind is going Horseman. I think Yumi into Horseman is the way. That's a really effective comp for Japan on this map, right? You focus hard on wood with your land eco, your food eco from water covers Horseman spam. But opening Mountain Samurai, bait. Right, going Foot Samurai, bait. Camel Archers deal with both of those quite cozily. I think he's just processing the loss now. We're going to hit the 2 times. This one's over. Let me know if you guys have been playing this matchup, by the way. Let me know if you've been struggling with it. It's kind of crazy, right? Those small tweaks to Abbasid brought them right back into the main picture. Things like fresh foodstuffs, a few tweaks here or there, and all of a sudden you've got a dominant Civ again. It's why on my list I put them... Did I put them B tier? Yeah, I put them top of B tier, a.k.a. they barely missed out on A. This Civ is strong. And it's only getting more powerful the more people are practicing it. Trip Trebuchet now out because Dumu refuses to leave the game. I imagine at this point he's just kind of sitting there processing where this went wrong. I wonder if he came to the same conclusion. It's weird because I feel like every player but the Canadian bros right now is sleeping on Yumi in highly competitive games. I think that's kind of the big issue, right? Whenever you play water maps, you lean away from wood-based units. I think that's kind of a baiting detail to a certain extent, though. And he's still trying to hold on, bless him. I mean, I guess he's going for a flank raid in the economy, but if you do that, it's going to be a dive to end your base. Krebs almost done with the town center now, and Dumu about to be put 6 feet under. Springall can't even reach in here. There's already anti-siege to answer. And with the TC going down, I wouldn't be surprised if he GG's the moment it falls, right? Because after that, repairing a 10k HP structure just doesn't seem feasible here. Rough game, though. You know what impresses me is, like, despite Abbasid doing things like this, a majority of the games on maps like Kawasan have been going really badly. So I'm curious to see if the meta develops differently as time goes on. Because I really do think Abbasids on these Kawasan 4 Lakes-esque maps are a top 4 Civ. Final clash coming in. Dumu has to make a stand. It looks like it's simply too many crossbows, though, and not enough Ona Bigishi to counter that. So Anatan will wipe the army. 2 landmarks already down. And final one being targeted. That'll be Dumu's last stand. GG.